wants to play some Song of Blades and Heroes? Ooh, I do. But instead of elves and orcs, why don't we do Undead versus Undead Hunters? It took me about 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most to draw up these two warbands that you see using the profiles listed in the back of... Now I'm using the Song and Blades of Heroes Revised Edition. It is Rules version 5.0. And in it, Andreas Filigoy mentions that he wrote the original Song of Blades and Heroes back in 2007. That was 17 years ago. These rule sets are old enough to drive in most American states. That's pretty impressive. I'm using the 2012 rules. And what do we got here? So we've got, on the one hand, we've got the Undead Hunters. I've got 3 archers in the back. All of the heroes have profiles of 3 3s. And this just kind of shows you what my character sheets look like. That's why I put it on this background. We have a halfling hero down here. And, he's a hero as far as halflings go, which makes him probably about as tough as the cleric. And then I got 2 barbarians who are fearless. The archers can shoot long. On the undead side, the 3 guys in the front are tomb guards. I pulled them from the Hyena Men army list. For those of you keeping score at home, that's on page 60. And those are Hyena Men guards. Oh, no. Wait a minute. Yeah, it says 2-handed weapon, but whatever. They are savage, which means when they double you up, not only do they kill your boy, they do a gruesome kill that forces morale checks for everyone but the barbarians, because the barbarians are fearless. This is what these figures look like. These come from Pendraken Miniatures, and they have a wonderful little Egyptian line that includes these dog-headed fellas. They have horse-headed guys, and I guess this tomb guard is really more of a skeletal guard. But I'm going to use the same profile for him. Quality 3, combat 3, same thing for these skeletons in the back. Oh, I take it back. The skeletons, the melee guys and the shooty boys, have a combat of 2. Then this mummy has a quality of 5. Going to be a little harder to get the mummy stuck in, but he has a combat of 3. Our points totals are about 325, which puts this a little larger than the basic battle. But I really like this scale, particularly for the channel, because we can get in, we can get out, and the battles take, even with all of my jibber-jabber here at the front, where I talk way too long about not game stuff, we can get in and out in about 30, 40 minutes. I really like the logistics of this game. It's a great way, it's a great lunch hour game. You come in with 300 points, you throw it down, you play the game, and let's take a look at the terrain. We find ourselves on the edge of human lands and the undead lands. The Great Wall of Undead Hadrian has fallen into disrepair in this region, and both sides are trying to seize the points of power. We're going to throw some ejected archers down a little bit. Before we do, just to remind you, all of the flat terrain pieces are broken ground. When you use an activation to move through those pieces, you can only move short. If you find yourself between medium and short, you have to stop at the edge and then move short on your next activation. The woods and the skeleton guy over here operate a little different. I really like this rule set's method of handling woods. If you're outside woods, you cannot shoot inside the woods, and if you're inside the woods, you can't shoot out. The only way is if you kind of approach the verge of the woods like this. See how he's right on the edge? It's kind of like a little quantum state where he's not quite in, not quite out, so he can shoot out of the woods. That counts as being in ambush, and you're at +1. The wall also counts as broken ground. If you don't have if you move up to it using medium, you got to stop. The only way to cross it is by using a short move. Likewise with this guy, although with this guy it's a little bit different. We're going to count that as cover. This counts as cover, so you can shoot into, but not through, these 2 terrain pieces, and anybody that's in those gets a +1 on their combat roll to defend against the shooting. The big bushes and this tree right here are blocking line of sight. The house as well blocks the line of sight and movement. And now we got to figure out how many objective markers we're going to put down, and I'm going to roll 2d3 to decide how many. So just 2 today. How about that? This might be a bloody one, but the setup will go quick. I'm going to put those D8 inches in a direction die distance from the center of the table. The first one will be 5 inches to the northeast, which will put it right here. and the second one will roll, and that winds up 6 inches to the southeast, which will put it right there. Now for the big roll. Where are we going to start the heroes? I'm going to roll this to find out whether they start in a corner or at the center of the table. And as always, they have to start within 3 inches of either the corner or the center point as we roll. And they must use one activation to come on at that point. So within 3 inches of the center or 3 inches of the corner. The good guys are going to come in on the southwest corner. So oddly enough, the good guys are returning from a raid, and so are the skeletons. They're coming from the opposite directions that you would have expected. The last question is, who wins the initiative on this first round? We'll play 8 rounds. That ought to do it. The red die will be for, I guess, the leader, although he doesn't really have leader as a profile. Notice the cleric has a bright red crusader cross. So the red die will be for the heroes. I'll try to stick to that. The undead get to come on first, and as I said, they'll come in on that corner. When you are further than 2 long moves away, and I use the full 15 millimeter gauge, 12, 8, and 5 centimeters for long, medium, and short moves, respectively. If you're further than 2 long moves away from the nearest enemy, you can just eschew rolling the dice at all. Normally, you roll 3 times and you're trying to get successes. If you want to, you can just say, I'm not rolling the dice. I'm just taking one activation, and I'm just going to move. Everybody on this table moves medium, with the exception of our stunty little hobbit. He moves short. The good news for the undead is that on this first turn, if they move short, they can get 2 of their groups of warriors, the skeletons in this case, out of the woods. There's not enough room to get 1 unit out. They have opted to bring their archers up first, and then their heavy hitters later. Rather than taking the 1 move with the mummy, since he's the last figure to activate, let's go ahead and take the high percentage play. That mummy's going to be moving pretty slow. He only activates on a 5. Let's give it a shot. And with all 3 failures, the mummy is still off the table for turn number 1. But if we'd rolled, 3 5s, then we could get that mummy out of the woods and well on his way to getting into action. The heroes will take a similar tack, bringing the archers, the cleric, and the halfling out first, and then deciding, why don't we bring, there's 1 barbarian right here, you can barely see him. Let's take a shot. These guys all activate on 3s. We'll start with the barbarian down here, just off screen. He's going to get to take 3 actions, so we can really leg it. Once, twice, and then, oh look, he's going to have to move short. By doing so, he may be able to seize that objective and force the undead to knock him off. Likewise, we've got another barbarian right here who's going to attempt 3 times. Now, he failed twice, so the turn ends after he takes his medium move. We'll bring him up to the front right there. But that was going to be the end of the first turn anyway. We'll advance the shot clock to 2, and we'll look back over at what the undead do to respond. We'll begin by bringing the skeleton warriors down into this area. And we'll bring the archers over the wall. Now, at this point, I'm wondering if we don't want to start taking some chances here. If we roll a 1 and a 2 on both dice, we're in trouble. I think we want to bring the archers up to start softening up the heroes before they get there. So let's try this archer first, and then that archer. And just like that, the turn is over for the undead. This is why we might have wanted to be a little more conservative on this side. This fact that sometimes you get to do everything you want and sometimes you just don't is one of the things I enjoy about Song of Blades and Heroes. Wildly unpredictable, and we all know those dice that hurt you so bad this time have a tendency to swing back around and help you the next time. I'm going to start by moving my 2... Oh, not that guy. I want to bring the halfling up. They're moving kind of slow. I'm going to bring the archers up to here, here, and once again, we're just kind of keeping them together and moving up kind of slow. We might be able to seize this. Now we have our 2 barbarians. This guy and this guy have to go. You want to start with the ones that are the most important. I'd really rather keep my forces together as much as possible, so I'm going to try this guy first. That way, if we fail, and I only get to one activation, at least I've still got all of my forces kind of tight. But I didn't. I get to really race along and do some damage. This barbarian is a real hothead. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, and he's going to start putting some pressure on those undead warriors over there. Even if he dies, if he can take out 1 or 2 of them, we'll be in good standing. Then we can try to seize this objective with the other guy, and he's going to get, we'll call that a 4. So he will get 2 activations. The first activation is going to be short, and so in plotting out our movement, we could drop him here, but that puts him a little further away. So I spin along, and remember the way movement works. You put your movement template down, and we can just barely get out of the swamp. And then with our second activation, we land on number 2. If this had been a 3, we could have used that third activation to seize the point of power. Whatever you need narratively to make that work, call it what you will. That is going to be the end of turn number 2. Now we move on to turn number 3. Notice that these 3 skeletons are within 2 long moves of the barbarian. Playing it safe, once again, we gotta at least get these guys out of the woods so we can get them into the fight. So we'll bring them up like that. Then I'm gonna have these skeletons jump over the hedge. They'll be able to move down here, take cover, start plinking away at the heroes coming up from the southwest. And now we have to think about what we want to do. Do we try to bring the mummy on? Let's just roll 1 die to get him on the table. With a 6, at least the mummy can get on, and with short, he can get out of the woods. But that's all he can do. So I have 3 more skeletons, and I'm going to roll twice, and you have to do this in order. If one of these guys gets 2 actions, then we can seize the objective. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to nominate this guy first. He gets the 2 actions, so he moves on to the first objective marker, and we'll use yellow to indicate that we have seized it. Now we just need to hang on to it until turn 8, and we've scored half the potential victory points. What's our tiebreaker if it's 1-1? I don't know, maybe who kills the most people? Might not come to that, so let's not worry about it just yet. We'll talk about that when the game gets to that point. For now, I still have 2 more skeletons. I'm going to try to bring them down this direction, and I'm going to start by rolling 2 dice for this guy, hoping to get 1, and I do get 1. Remember, they have a quality of 3, so he can move a medium down to here. And then this last guy, hey, why wouldn't I go ahead and roll all 3 dice? Even if I fail on 2 of them and my turn ends, I still get to do the one medium move to here. Adjusting plans on the fly, you gotta love it. Turn number 3, I really want to seize this objective. I want to force these guys to do something. I'm going to roll 2 activations, and all we get is the 1 success that allows Mr. Barbarian to take a seat. He claims this land in the name of the forces of law. Now, let's bring these 3 archers up this way. 1, 2, 3. And we'll split our 2 heroes up. Let's send the halfling through the swamp. I'm going to roll 2 activations, looking for 3s, and they're going to be done. Okay. But on the next turn, these archers do have the option of swinging back around, so it gives us a little bit more flexibility. Not too worried about it. We're on turn number 4. How do the undead respond? The archers, are they within too long? They are, so they don't have any guaranteed activations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 2d6. And if they come up, this is 1 activation, 1 activation. At this point, it doesn't matter which is which. Since they both activate, then I'll bring them both up to here. I did pay the points. There are 2 different archer profiles in the book for undead. There's regular shooters who have a combat skill of 1. These guys are elite shooters, which means they can shoot a long distance and their range modifiers are halved. When they shoot at medium range, it's -1. At long, it's -2. I still have, and the reason I'm bringing them up is to try to soften up the heroes. So I'm going to save these 2 guys for last. I don't need them to get stuck in right now. What I really need to do is get these 3 guys, and I'm only going to roll 1 activation for each of them. I get a 5, 5, and a 3, so they're all going to be able to move medium. And since the heroes are flooding this side of the table, I'm going to match them and bring my 3 heavy hitters up like so. And then I'm going to try to bring the mummy in. I'm rolling 3 times, looking for 5s. I only get the 1 activation, but we'll bring the mummy down here to help out with that, call it the southern flank, if you will. We'll send the 3 strong fighters over here around the, that would be the undead right, and we'll bring the 2 skeletons. We'll leave him there. Force the heroes to push this warrior off the objective. For the heroes, I'm going to start with the halfling. He wants to activate twice. He gets both of those activations, which will allow him to move medium and then short, and it puts him right in the middle of the swamp. But he's coming. I got backup for you, fella. Do we want to bring this guy off the objective and run him up? Maybe, but first, I want to bring the cleric into the fight. And we're going to bring the cleric around this way because he is lethal against the skeletons. Notice that the 3 tomb guards are not undead. That means our cleric is not lethal. Although it doesn't really matter because our cleric failed both of his activations. That's the end of the turn. We move on to turn number 5, and I'll stick our turn counter here where it shows up a little better. The undead get to go. I will start by bringing our tomb guards up. I rolled 3 failures, so the tomb guards stay where they're at. I'm going to roll once for the mummy on a 5 or a 6. He could move, but he's not gonna. Now I've got the 2 archers, and here's where I need to start thinking about this. Why don't we roll 2 dice for the nearest archer, and we're looking for 3s. We get 2 successes, which means, first of all, we are within long range, and since he's up against the hedge, we don't have to worry about the bonus. The barbarian here normally fights on a 3, but because of the aimed shot, he has a -1. It's going to be +3 to the blue die for the undead, +2 to the red die for the hero. So 8 versus 5. When you win the combat, the archer, am I missing anything? I'm not. The archer wins with an odd number, and odd means fall back. So we've driven him away. He says, the barbarian says, "Are they shooting? Where's cover?" We have another archer who can take a shot. And if we get 2, we only got 1 success, so this will not be an aimed shot. It's a shooting attack at even Stevens, and this time the hero wins the die roll, so nothing happens with that second shot. And I've got 2 skeletons who see an opportunity to jump on the objective and steal it. I'm going to roll for one of them first. If I get a 3, 4, 5, or 6, then we can move 1 up to about here. And then I'm going to roll all 3 dice for this third guy and see how many activations we get. We get 2 activations, so I can bring 1 to here. And for the second activation, I have some options. I think I'm going to go ahead and put him on the objective so he's ready for next turn. If he can stay on that through this next hero turn, he may be able to grab it out from under them. But it is the hero's time to shine. So we're going to start with, we really need to do some damage. I think we got to start with this barbarian is going to roll 2 dice, hoping for the power attack. He gets 2 actions. So he's already in contact. On these seizing the objective games, I just assume that our defender is moving around anywhere in here. We're taking advantage of the representative and kind of, like I said before, the quantum nature of the way we represent this battle. Even though he's in the middle, they count as being in contact. The skeleton is going to be rolling the red die, and he only has a combat skill of 2, -1 because it's a power blow. We're using 2 actions. I could fight him with 1 action, and then if we kill the skeleton, we could use our second action to move on. Oh, now that I think about it, I think melee has to be the last thing you do. Be that as it may, I really want to kill that guy, and so we're going to be rolling on the blue die will be at +1, the red die will be at +3. 7 to 6, the undead still wins, and with an even result, our barbarian is going to fall down. Pretty swingy game. It's what I like about it. Then our halfling is going to try to go, and he's got 2 actions available to him. He's going to be successful, but, you know what? I've been racing him too far. I completely forgot. He's got short little legs. He should have been using the short move template this whole time. So technically he should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He should be like back here, even with all of his extra moves. So I tell you what I'm going to do to just kind of balance out the fact that I forgot. We're just going to leave him there, right? It doesn't end the turn, but he uses his next 2 moves to get up into the swamps, and that's where we're going to have to leave it. That's a problem for our barbarian who's now standing alone, but I'm not too worried about it. Let's see. So what is our next move going to be? I want to bring my archers down to what I should have done before and start shooting down here. So 3 chances to move. 2 of them are all in, and they're going to move to right here and stop. 1 and 2. That's all they can do. This guy failed his activation. All right, now I have a choice here. Do I want to move him? I'm going to hold off on this guy, actually. I want to bring my hero up, and I really want to get him into action. So I'm going to try 3 times. I'm only going to get the 1 success. He's only going to be able to race up to here. It's going to take him 2 more actions to get through that swamp. That swamp is in a really bad place. We move on to number 6. The undead get to go. And I'm going to start with an archer taking a shot at the halfling if we can get the activations right. Well, we didn't that time. We only got 1 activation, so we can take a shot at the halfling. Our elite archer is at +2 on the shot. Normally, when you're at medium range, he shoots long, you would be at -2, but because he's an elite archer, he's only at -1. So we roll, and the archer is going to be at +1, and our halfling is, he's in the swamp, so he's going to be at a total of +4. And with that, we're going to have a miss. Going to try the other archer. Oh, no, I'm sorry, what am I doing? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm rolling 3 dice. I want to seize this objective. Let's roll to see if we can bring this guy up first. All right, he doesn't move. Then I'm going to roll to see how many of these undead guards move. All 3 of them get a medium move, so we're going to bring them up here. If we can eliminate that barbarian, it's going to give us the points that we need to win a potential objective tie. Now, before we do anything else, I'll try to bring the mummy down. He's going to stand still. And then with this guy, I want to seize that at all costs. I'm rolling 3 actions. I get 3 2s, and I fail all 3 of them. So the heroes, what you're saying is there's a chance. First up, this barbarian tries to stand up. We're going all in on the barbarian standing up. I get a pair of 5s, which will allow him to stand, and the second one will allow him to fight. This is going to be a 3 versus a 2. 2 for the blue. The blue gets an 8. The red gets a 5. This little skeleton is doing the undead Dark Lord's work here, ain't he? 8 to 5, the skeleton wins, and this fearless old boy on even, it's odd they're back. On even, he's down. So he hits the deck again. Then I'm gonna bring. Oh boy, what do I want to do? I got 2 shooters here that'll be at -1. I'm bringing Mr. Halfling in. He gets a total of 3 actions. And I think we're going to need him, because the first action is going to... The first 2 actions... Ooh. So this... we can cut the corner here. Oh, no, this is Mr. Halfling, isn't it? So the first action is going to get him out of the swamp. The second will get him into contact. And the third will allow another combat. This will be at 3 versus 2. The Halfling is going to get a 5 versus a 6, and with an even, the halfling goes down. Well, that's no good. Although, the halfling is a hero, what does that mean? I feel like that means something that I'm forgetting. When you have the special rule that you've got a hero on the table, then he automatically receives 1 success regardless of quality. Oh, that's kind of nice. Once per game, he can reroll 1 die roll if he wants. Do we want to do that right now? Do we force this guy to re-roll and risk a lethal injury? I don't think we do. I think we're going to stick with what we got. We want to wait for one of those 6s to re-roll. Well, at least that opens up the possibility for our 2 archers. I'm going to try the first archer. Now, I gotta bring the cleric in. I'm rolling all 3 dice. I want him to do something. He gets 3 actions total. He cannot cut the corner, so he's got to move 1, 2, and then I guess we'll go 3 to put him in contact with this boss man. He doesn't have action to attack, so we have to end it there. But we're doing okay on this side of the table. We do have a couple of archers that could take a shot. Let's try to move this archer up here. And with a 4, he'll move medium to here. And now I'll roll 2 dice to see if this archer can shoot down our heroic undead. He only gets 1 action, which means... Oh, you know, the other thing I thought about, when you're shooting at skeletons, because they're undead, you're at -1. It's going to be 2v2. This makes this a 6v6, and nothing happens. I'm trying for an aimed shot with the other archer. I get 2 successes, which will allow the aimed shot... Oh, although they are shooting through the swamp. We said that was -1 as well, right? So the aimed shot combats the... Oh, and we're at long range. Oh, well, this is terrible. These archers are in a bad position. And they lose, obviously. I don't even need to run the numbers on this one. This is not going well for the forces of good. That is almost the end of the turn. We do have a barbarian up there. Let's see if our barbarian can have any more success against these guys. He's going to fall back just 1 move. There's no sense getting triple teamed over there, particularly this late in the game. It's turn number 7, and now the undead get to go. And we're going to start with this undead warrior right here. First, let's try to move the mummy. Hey, look, the mummy's going to move. That's great. Ugh, it's hard to get him down there. Then, I don't want to move off that objective marker. We made that mistake last time. Then I'm going to take a... Well, I don't even have any shots with these guys. Things are going so well. Let's move him up to get him stuck in. I'm just going to roll once for him. On a 3, he can. He's going to move less than medium, so now he can provide some cover. We'll force those archers to target him. Then this guy is the last one. Well, for down here, I want to try to put one of these heroes down. I'm probably going to fight the barbarian. With 2 acts. Oh, no, we have to fight the guy who's on his feet. With 2 actions, we can do a power blow, which reduces the skill of the cleric to 2. So it's an even roll, but this could be a problem, because the cleric now rolls a 6 versus a 3. That's a double up, and that means that this skeleton does, finally, the streak is ended, and that's 1 kill for Team Good. Not only that, but our objective is now exposed. And that is the end of the undead turn. The heroes get to go, and the heroes have 1 kill in their bank. So I'm going to roll once for this barbarian, and he's going to fall back to here. I'm going to roll 3 times for this hero. I get 2 actions. He can move on to the objective. Oh, they already own that objective. He's going to run over here and fight this skeleton. This will be a 3 versus 2. And the hero wins. He is lethal against skeletons. He eliminates a 2nd skeleton, putting them up by 56 points. Then, if we lose, I probably should have stood on that. Okay, I have other options. I'm going to roll for this barbarian. No, I'm going to roll for the halfling, because he gets a reroll. This is his 1 reroll. The halfling can stand up. Oh, he still blew it. If I had rolled a 2nd action, we could have put him on the objective to hold it. At least he stood up. The problem is that we got these 2 archers. The turn is over. It kicks over to turn number 8. And now the difficulty is, here on this... we don't need that anymore. This is the last turn. The skeletons need to seize this and hang on to it. Let's put the mummy on the objective if we can. The mummy fails. Okay. What's our next best bet? How far away are our superheroes over here? Oh, we need 3 action. We need to get on it, and we need to seize it. So we need 3 actions to make that happen. Right now, the heroes are winning because it's 1-1. And the heroes have more kills than the undead. So we have to seize this or we've lost the game. So I'm going to bring this archer. I'm rolling for 3 actions. And I get 2, which means I have a short and I have a medium. That's not enough. Okay. With 2 actions, I'm going to shoot at the shorty. And we roll, and we get a 6 versus a 3. 6, 7, 8 versus... well, let's think about this. It's +2. 0 plus is 3. 8 versus 3. That actually eliminates the halfling, who is worth 54 points. So now, just like that, the undead are in control. Even if they don't seize this, they've killed more than the other guys. Although, they have to hope that we still need to try to get one of our skeletons on the... and we don't. So we only have 1 action over here. And that action is going to be to open fire, but we're at long range at the cleric. So we're at -1. We're rolling a total of +1 to the blue die, and the cleric is going to dodge that. Now, what else can we do? We can try to regain the points differential by bringing one of these guys into combat with this archer. And we get 2 actions, which is what we need. Oh, wait a minute. That's not enough to fight him, is it? We have to... we can move slow over the wall. Oh. Very cunning plan on the part of the heroes. We need all 3 actions to make this work. So we'll go medium here, and then like this is... all we can do is touch him. Okay, fair enough. The skeletons aren't... the tomb guards aren't dumb. We get 3 actions with this guy, and that means we can go... and remember the way that movement works. You just have to keep in contact with the measuring stick. So that's 1 action, 2 actions, and now we can fight. And we have a friend with us. So we'll zoom in on that fight a little bit there so you can kind of see where we're at. We're at 2-1. That means the archer, who's normally fighting at 3, will be fighting at a 2. And our big boy over here is going to be fighting at 3 still. The hero gets a 6. The tomb guard gets a 5. Because the hero rolled an even, this tomb guard falls down. I have 1 more tomb guard trying to knock out that archer. He's only going to get 2 activations, which means he can just get around the corner, and that's about all he's going to be able to do. The other thing we could probably do is move him medium, so over here, but he's too far away to get in contact. So now the game becomes, what can the heroes do to seize this objective? And if, well, they already own the objective, don't they? I think the game might be over. As things stand right now, the undead have killed 54 points. The heroes have killed 52. With our objective markers tied at 1-1, the undead own the tiebreaker. So in order to win this one, the heroes have to do one of 2 things. They have to seize that objective or kill one of these skeletons. Their best chance is up here, where the archer is locked in mortal combat 2-1. And since this guy is tougher than the... well, actually, the archer is just as tough. What we need to do is... but the archer is fighting 2-1 odds. So we got to bring this guy into melee. And with a 4, 2, and a 1, that's going to end the turn. We get into melee, but we don't have an action. So we don't have an ability to do an attack. So the skeletons are going to win this one. With the tiebreak... no, the heroes are going to win by 2. No, I'm sorry. Like I said earlier, the skeletons have killed 54. The archers have killed 52. The undead win. And I gotta be honest with you, I thought this scenario was going to be really dumb. You've only got 2 objectives, and they're both on this side of the board. Whoever sets up over here clearly has the advantage. I think the problem is that the undead used their heavy hitters, their tomb guards, and honestly, the tomb guards aren't that great. They are savage, so they do have those morale checks, but unless you win a fight, unless you have the doubling, it doesn't do any good. They spend too much time fooling around over here. Once they grab this objective, they probably should have left one there as a blocking, back, and then brought everybody else down here to really commit to seizing this. The archers did a good job delaying things, but in the grand scheme of things, this game played out exactly as you'd expect. The archers aren't going to win the game for you. All they're going to do is slow down this flank, and that's what they did. So you still need to have some serious backup here. The only reason that the undead did as well as they did down here is that one little skeleton fought like a maniac and a beast for so long. Again, I think the undead, with their combat skill of 2, are speed bumps. You need to have somebody that's better at an actual fight following the skeletons up. And again, the heroes were a little bit outclassed in terms of point value at 318 to 325. It's only 7 points. It's not that much. And I actually think that the heroes have a matchup better against the undead. Just having this cleric winning every fight means that the game is far more balanced than the point costs would have you believe. Delightful little game. Till next time, I'm praying for you.